Following the success of the Air Jordan 3, Tinker Hatfield and Michael Jordan again scored a hit with the technology-driven design of the 4. One of the 4 original colorways, the white cement pair, made a triumphant remastered comeback on All-Star Weekend this year, Nike Air and all. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, what is up? Reese here, and I've got a brand new sneaker pickup to show you. What we're looking at today is the Air Jordan 4 Retro in white, fire red, black, and tech gray, aka the white cement 4s. These return in proper form on February 13th, 2016 with a retail price of $200. Debuting in 1989, the Air Jordan 4 was the second signature Air Jordan sneaker designed by Tinker Hatfield. One of his important goals when he came onto the project before the Air Jordan 3 was to involve Michael Jordan a little more directly in the design and overall direction of his signature line. Building off of the huge success of the Air Jordan 3, they wanted to get back to basics a little bit with the 4 and create a design that was really focused on the performance aspect and the tech that was featured on the shoe. Two of the more prominent ways we see that are the plastic netting along the sides and the tongue. This was something that was added on top of a layer of mesh for a little bit of support and stability. The mesh was an important addition to the sneaker also because it added breathability and helped reduce weight. The other key tech factor that's really become iconic to the design of the 4 are these plastic wings along the side. These allowed for better lockdown and also for more configuration with multiple different lacing holes so that people could really get the lockdown that they wanted with their sneakers. The Air Jordan 4 arrived in the second half of the 1988-1989 NBA season, which was another great year for Michael Jordan. Once again, he led the league in scoring, averaging 32.5 points per game, and he was also able to increase his assists per game and rebounds per game fairly significantly. This helped show just how much of a well-rounded player he was. He brought home multiple honors that year, including being named to the All-NBA First Team and the All-Defensive First Team, and he was also a starter in that year's All-Star game. Aside from his on-court performances though, the Air Jordan 4 helped showcase just how much sneakers, and Air Jordans in particular, were really starting to infiltrate mainstream culture. In the Spike Lee film, Do the Right Thing, one of the characters has a brand new pair of white cement 4s. Early sneakerheads all around the country cringed together as they watched him get those scuffed up, and that exact same feeling was something that served as the basis many years later for a Nelly song called Stepped on My J's. Getting into this shoe in particular, this is one of the 4 original colorways of the Air Jordan 4, the release in 1989, and this is by far my favorite. Nike really did this release right, in my opinion. I have a pair of the 2012s. That was actually one of the first retros I ever purchased, one of the first retros I ever actually had to fight for, and they just left a little bit to be desired in terms of overall quality. You know, the leather is so stiff, so hard, it really doesn't give it all. And I like that they brought back a softer leather here that really moves a little bit better with your foot. You know, you see the wrinkles, you see some of the inconsistencies, and that's something I really like. I'm also a huge fan of the kind of the fixing of the shade of gray. I never really had a problem with the 2012s. Which are a lot darker than the original and a lot darker than the 99s. From what I can tell from pictures, I think the 99s were a little bit lighter than the originals, and these are actually pretty close to what we would have seen in 1989. But, so like I said, the 2012s didn't bother me that much because I'd never seen a pair of the 99s or the 89s or anything like that. But once I saw this pair this year, the light gray just works so well with the design and with the overall white base. I love it, and I love the fact that they applied more speckles. That now looking at the 2012s, they look a little funky. So I'm glad that they brought all that back. You know, the Nike Air branding is huge for a lot of people, and I definitely love to see that. But for me, it's never been as big of a deal just because, you know, I was born years after this pair was first introduced. I never really grew up watching Michael Jordan play, And so it's things like that that I think mean a lot more to the people who kind of experienced it the first time around. But for me, I'm just glad to have this pair. I will say though, the Nike Air fills out that back section so much more than the Jumpman did in 2012. So it's definitely something I really appreciate, and I'm glad that they brought it back. With all that said though, let's dive into a quick close-up look. I won't bore you guys with that. I know we've seen a lot of those looks already. We'll just do a quick overview, go through the quality, materials, and everything kind of going on with this release. Let's take a look. Here we go with a close-up look at the 2016 White Cement Air Jordan 4. Before we actually get into the shoe, we'll take a quick look at the box. I've always really liked the box that they use for the Air Jordan 4. You've got that top with the Jumpman and then the classic flight script from the late 80s there below it. Then that top pulls off completely and you've got a cement print box with your tag and all that other information. When we look inside the box then, you've got kind of the normal things that we see with the Air Jordan 4. You've got the black paper, the black plastic like garbage bag like material that separates the shoes. There was a wad of tissue paper in there as well. You've got those cardboard shoe trees and then the little sticks that push up against the shoe trees and basically keep the full shape of the shoe. You've then got your hang tag, although it's interesting that they didn't bring back the Nike Air hang tag. I would have thought maybe that would have gone along with bringing back Nike Air to the heel of the shoe, but that was not something they did. I don't know if that was an oversight, if they chose not to do that. Maybe they had some extras of these from the 4s we've seen the past couple years. Whatever it was, they didn't include that, so that's just something to note. And now let's actually get into the shoe itself. We'll start out by taking a look at the leather on the 2016 release. Like I mentioned before, it's a lot softer leather. It's not perfect, but I really like kind of the quality and the character that adds to the shoe. Softer leather to me has just always been nicer because it moves a little bit better with your foot. You can see some of those like wrinkles and creases forming that you'll see with a softer leather that just isn't quite as structured as like what we saw in the 2012s. You know, there really wasn't much room for movement because it was so stiff, and so you wouldn't see as many of those imperfections or kind of character lines, as I like to call them. You've got, as you can see when I press down, it kind of like moves pretty well with my finger and then will resume its original shape. Quality wise, I'm pretty happy with it. The only flaw I really found on either of my pairs is just a place right there where there's some extra paint or something you can see right above my fingernail. Nothing too bad, and that goes for quality for the whole shoe, not just for leather. Now looking at the netting, you can see we've got that on the sides as well as the tongue, and they did something right here that they've missed the past couple years in getting that netting angled down as opposed to straight across like it was originally. It also is not glued to the mesh below it, so it kind of can move freely, which is another nice touch that they brought back. Looking up here on this kind of like plastic lace holder piece, you've got these little tails sticking out on the sides, which is something that the original shoe featured, but that they again have not had recently. Even on some of the remastered pairs last year, or all of the remastered pairs, that was not something they brought back. So it's cool to see them noticing those small things and getting those included. You've got your flat white laces. Looking here at the wing, you've got that cement print and kind of this plasticky rubbery material, and another black piece like what you have down here for the lacing. At the top of the tongue, you've got leather and then that flight Jumpman tag up there in red and black, kind of like what we see on the box. Looking at the inside of the shoe now, you've got a white lining, inside of the tongue is black, and you've got that upside down Air Jordan tag right there. Inside we've got, let's see if we can get this, there we go. You've got your Nike swoosh and Air branding, again something they brought back with the 2016 retro. Now, as far as that goes, we'll take a look at the heel where you've got that Nike Air branding again. I really like how much that fills up the back of the shoe compared to the 2012 release. And here you can also get a good comparison of the two different shades of gray. I really like what they did with this one. You can also see the speckles. A lot of people have been saying there are more speckles. It doesn't look like that. It's more that some of them are larger and so they stand out a little bit better. And also there's just better contrast because it's still black speckles, but it's on a lighter gray material. That about wraps it up for the upper of the shoe. Looking at the midsole now, you can see up at the front, the outsole basically wraps up, and so you've got this hard rubber and black. Midsole top line is your cement print again, up there and back here, wrapping around the shoe. You've got your air bubble in the white section of the midsole. You can see you've got like a gray inside of there. Looking at the outsole now, You've got a section up at the front with stars embossed right there. That's in gray, and then you've got red, black, and gray sections that feature herringbone traction. Right in the middle here, you've got your white section then with the Nike branding. Again, something that they brought back for 2016. Overall, I'm very happy with this release. I think they did a great job improving over the 2012 pair, and I'm very happy to see that these released again, that I was able to grab a pair fairly easily, all things considered. Definitely let me know what you think of this release in the comments below. Let me know if you picked up a pair. As always, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this, and if you want to see more, like the video if you enjoyed the review and the information provided. And with all that said, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.